Hey everybody! I'm going to be looking into the energies around President Trump Inauguration Day. It's the 20th of January of 2025. I did take a peek into this. I was kind of curious what the energies would look like before I dove into it with all of you here on YouTube. And where I was drawn to go is an interdimensional space. So it does apply to present day, it does apply to the event, but it's a bit more of a dark biblical representation, like a satanic church concept and the transformation of chaotic energies in the birth of something new, okay? So I'm just gonna relax here, and then I'm just putting it out to the universe. How do we want to navigate this here on YouTube for those who are interested in this spiritual pathway of interpretation around the energies here, Donald Trump Inauguration Day, all of that, which is also Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is interesting too. So this is how I'm going to be of service in order to support love, the truth, authenticity, the growth of the human race, not the imprisonment or the destruction of the human race. So I'll just be evaluating the energies and then navigating as I'm guided, okay? All right, so you're just along for the ride, okay. So I'm gonna relax, just stare off into space and get in the zone here. My guides are asking, I'm gonna tell you guys what I saw this morning. And they even asked me when I was doing it, would I be able to remember all these details? And when I talk about it with all of you before I continued, and I didn't really know what the answer was because I had to go. But I kind of concluded in there that maybe I would. So this is what I was presented with this morning. And I'm still going to be in a journey state so I can kind of move through the pictures and describe what I saw. So it starts at a church. And there's a very strange being that is opening extremely heavy door into this church. The church is quite pretty on the inside. It's very clean. It's very balanced. This being opening the door looked kind of like half horse, half man. But it wasn't. It was more like flat, like a table with 6 arms. And it never really stood upright. It had a strange, morbid head. It was a dark and twisted looking thing, okay? And it had like dark gray skin. So it's opening this heavy door to this church. And this church has this gorgeous, it's like the red carpet, okay? It's just, I don't know what it was, but in the energy world, colors are so vibrant and alive. But this red all across this, and it wasn't blood, but it was literally a red carpet, but it could symbolize that. It didn't say it symbolized that, but it was beautiful. All right. And then all these stained glass windows were so pretty. But this was morbid. This was disturbing. This wasn't actually pretty. This is an ugly thing. And I'm looking into this church, and there's this man at, I don't know, it's the back of the church, the front of the church is like way in there. There's this table doing these things. I guess you call the front of the church. And there's more of these strange creatures in there. And I was trying to step in, but there's this energetic barrier, which surprised me because you can go anywhere you want to go in the energy world, but if you're not allowed to go there, then you aren't allowed to go there. So I wasn't allowed to walk into there. So I just accepted it. And what was interesting is the energy of this space was really dark, like satanic church level stuff. But there wasn't anything dark I was witnessing, just some strange creatures that were supporting this man at the head of the church, doing things like you might see a priest do. Well, all these snakes started to come up and out of the ground around my feet, but these snakes represented a good thing. So snakes could be snakes are very spiritual representations, okay? So snakes could be quite evil. Snakes could be quite benevolent. So they're teachers. Everything's a teacher. So the benevolent snake is transforming this energy. I saw like thousands of snakes move through that barrier at the door, enter into this church. And there was a lot of terror about these snakes entering in. It's like an infection. So this is the evil. I was talking about the evil. And this around the LA fires and how this energy is undoing itself right now. So we're going to watch the evil undo itself, which is really exciting. I'm like, give me the popcorn. I want to watch the evil undo itself. But I get to be part of the process, and so do you. How do you become part of the process of the evil undoing itself? Just continue to be good. Just be a good person. And that's all you have to do. And you're already making a significant difference. So these snakes entered in, and all these, like the creatures and this priest figure just stalled out as something huge came up and out of the ground. And this huge thing had no head, no neck. It was made out of stone. And I kept hearing this sound like, who dares disturb my slumber? You know, like this like evil rippling. But it wasn't like awakening something dark. It was the end of something dark and the awakening of something beautiful and new. And we're talking about the inauguration day as the awakening of something beautiful and new. So is it a dark thing, or is it a day of something new happening? I'm supposed to see it like this and talk about it like this. Okay, that's my rule, all right? So I was trying to make sense of this big giant thing, and I was going up into the sky to try to take a look at its face because it was so tall. It didn't have a face, it didn't have a neck. It was even kind of chunked out here, the collarbone, and there was this, which I've never seen, but I believe that I could see this, and I did see this, was like a Valkyrie type. It was a female on a white horse, and she had a white flag. And it didn't represent like we give up or I'm defeated. It just represented peace. It's just all she emanated was peace. And when she came in, I felt this stone, this heavy being, this massive being who disturbs my slumber being, stop. And all the heavy stone just came raining down. And I rained down 2 of the heavy stone, and I was on the earth and I was looking up at the sky, and it was like, I felt so much peace. And there was this huge wave of souls, like an ocean of souls that were screaming. And this ocean was from the earth to the sky, okay? And they're just a conglomeration of souls that are reconciling. It's just souls in reconciliation. So souls screaming is just souls in reconciliation. And souls screaming, it could be because they were bad. Like sometimes souls go through trauma, and souls scream in order to work through the healing of facing what they've been through and working through love. Because this is a humongous classroom and it's complicated. And so in the energy world, respect for everyone, okay? For all the roles that we play, respect for everyone. Human world, no, you're not going to get away with that. No, you're not going to treat people like that. Or I do what I want. You know, so in the human world, we get to do these things. Spirit realm, it's like you awaken to what you did, okay? But there's respect. There's processes. So anyway, everything is frequency. So you're just working through the piano story of your soul's like timeline, all right? Okay, anyway. So when I was lying on the ground and I felt so peaceful, I noticed this giant being, you know, was invisible, but was dense. You could walk into it and be like, whoa, what is this? It's invisible, it's dense. And all the screaming souls here in this ocean. And I knew I had to stand up because there's more work to do. This stuff isn't just fix itself. No, we have work to do. We have to clean up the mess. So you have like a hoarder house. It just cleans itself. No, it doesn't. We have work to do. So there is work to do to clean up the mess. And so I was standing up and I was looking at this being, and that's when pretty much I stopped. Because it wasn't for me to just reconcile the ocean of souls over there. They just kept screaming. And the church was broken. And everything that was in that church was stalled out. It was timed out. And this being was awakening, but it needed, I feel like I wanted to help it find its face, its head, its neck. I wanted to rebuild it. But I also got this echo about the spiral of time. So the spiral of time, like we can't even comprehend what the human journey is. You know, is it the Egyptian pyramids? Like if we're talking about the spiral of time, we're going through windows of time, like dimensions, frequency shifts and changes. So we could say the human race started 1 billion years ago. But we could scientifically say that's not possible So science and spirituality, right? Let's say 1 billion years ago, something of the human race sparked as a creative idea that then birthed itself into a material plane. And that at that window or dimensional time, a certain frequency pattern. So let's say the frequency going really fast might be invisible to another frequency pattern that's going really, really slow. Okay, so we've moved through this spiral of growth and development wherever we've been in whatever dimension, time, and place, and it intertwined with Earth or intertwined with something inconceivable and Earth. It's hard to say because past, present, future all happening simultaneously. So even in the past, we were also here in this present moment, which was the future. But then we could say, so it's like all connected in there. And so we could have started way back here. And if we were to dig into the earth, we would never find these structures because we vibrate differently than we vibrated at the time of these structures. So I truly do believe that the earth vibrates out of its material expression into other material expressions. And so it doesn't, I seek to know the truth. I would love to know the human history truth, but I don't have to find peace and satisfaction because I contain it inside my soul. We all contain the memory inside our souls. So we always have access to it. And I do believe the truth will be birthed onto this planet for us to all know, which may be why, with these California fires, I love the thought of it. It will be or it will not be. But I love the thought of it, like 40,000 acres dedicated to this extraordinary university of the best minds, the best of the best at their skill, teaching people from this place of I love to learn, and then seeding the world. And it's for everyone to benefit, I love that. I love that sort of thing because I like growth. And growth comes from the expansion of the mind and working together and the challenge of it too. That's all growth. That's all good stuff. So anyway, that's what happened this morning. And then I'm going to just, I guess, go from there. Am I supposed to go back to that space in particular? Am I supposed to give, the head, the neck, am I supposed to rebuild this thing? Maybe I had to stop. That was all I was meant to do at that time. And now I'm supposed to do something else. I don't know. So my calling with this is probably outside the spectrum of what we see as day-to-day reality, but this also intertwines with day-to-day reality. So, okay. I'm clearing all my senses now of everything that I've seen, I've talked about, and we're going to start fresh. What can I do to be of service here in support of love, growth of humanity, expansion of humanity? At this divine time, everything is as it's meant to be. Everything is good. What can I do to nurture that goodness and continue to expand it? That's just what I do. Okay. I see this is a new picture, a new energy space, new information. There is a very ancient being that is made out of many souls. Man, this is a common theme here. So it's made out of many souls. So you basically just see a giant thing made out of heads and arms that kind of outstretch at times. And it's made out of all these souls, and they're built upon each other. And then they're absorbed into each other to create one collective expression. And I see that the bones are brittle. So you could say, maybe there's something of politics that the bones are getting brittle with this movement, let's say. And it's a movement where all these souls are tied together with each other and they're still trying to uphold the original vision, but it's got brittle bones, okay? So it's not, it can't uphold itself. It's going to break, which is a good thing because this energy was it was fear-based. It was encouraging insecurity and the destruction of mental balance, emotional balance in people. It was guiding people away from themselves. That is getting brittle. That's a very good thing. So I see this is breaking down. I'm just stepping up into it, and it's very confident in itself even still, even with all these brittle bones. It's just, I don't know why I'm laughing at it. Because I'm showing it as your bones are brittle. They don't hear a word that you say, and they don't care because their vision is strong in their heart. It doesn't matter if their bones are brittle, their heart is strong, and they're connected, they're working together in sync, and there's nothing that's going to get in their way. I am called to do this. So I take the energetic concept of a brittle bone and I just snap it like a twig. And I see one leg actually falls. And they're like, whoa, we're losing balance. And then I take another brittle bone and I snap it like a twig. And then that other leg collapses. And they're screaming like, I can't even believe this is happening. And I'm supposed to snap the hips. So this is a concept, okay? So I'm actually showing them the truth. You will never, it doesn't matter if we have brittle bones because we are the Superman of this new vision, and collected and united we stand. And it's just like, snap. Like they can't even realize how brittle their vision is and how not useful it is. It's very not useful. It's like feeding people food that has no vitamins. It is the end of things. So their vision is the end of things, and it's not the pathway forward at this time, okay? So it might come back, but at this time it is not the pathway forward. And I'm not choosing to, it's like, I'm choosing to just relish in the fact that I can break these brittle bones right now, because it's like, it's not my time. I can try, but I can't do it yet because it's not time. Well, it's time now. That's great. So it's just waking up to the fact you were lying to yourself and you've been feeding vitaminless food to the hearts and souls of the human race. And it's all about awakening. That's all it is. So while it's like, let me show you how strong you really are, snap. It's kind of fun for me, but at the same time, it's just creating awakening. And like, they're all just thrown out. They're all just like, it's just kind of like a bunch of sticky goo and a bunch of like heads are rolling, but they're all stuck together. And there's these arms outstretched and they're on the ground. And I start to see that the substance of this structure opens up a portal, and then there's just all this black flame, and there's a thing that comes out of the portal. And again, it's consciousness that is never, ever, 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 ever going to stop. It's never going to give up. It's never. And it's made out of just black fire. It's huge. And these things are stuck to it. These things are a part of it. These things channel it. These are human beings that channel this energy that will never, ever, ever stop. But the truth makes it impossible for this to have power here. The truth does. So the truth. So authenticity, authenticity is the best form of truth, because the human race, what do we know is the truth? The truth is always changed. The earth is flat. No, the earth is round. We're starting to learn and grow as we go, and we work with as best as we know at this time. And that's the best we can offer. But everybody deserves to have, we need to teach authenticity and to welcome everybody's viewpoint. But it has to be authentic and not from a place of pain and ego. That is what it is. It's just power to the heart, the energy shifting into the heart, from the head into the heart. And so we're animated more by our spirit and the love of growth. And I tell this big being, I just give it a humongous hug. And I tell it to not be afraid. Because its greatest fear is to not exist anymore. To have once existed and then to not exist, it is like ego's fear. I'm number one, two, I'm nothing. I never was anything, but I was number one. I was never number one. I was selfish. So it's self-realizing. So I see this energy is in meditation. And I start to see all those heads and those arms that are in the goo also in meditation. They're in sync. And I see this energy, it's like everything has a time and a place. So this energy kind of goes into a time capsule. And it has a lot of self-reflection to do. And bam, I'm like being whisked away back to President Trump Inauguration Day. And there's all this celebration. Okay, this is my stance on it. I basically see that life and death is a divine thing, and no human is going to get in the way of a divine event. Life and death is a divine thing, and no human, it's God's choice. It's your higher self's choice. It's your life. It's nobody else's life. So if your life is taken and somebody shoots you in the head, your life is taken. They took your life, or did you give them your life? So what is really happening here? You are giving another soul the opportunity for an exchange with your soul, and it is a transition period. So everything happens correctly. If you want to evaluate it close to the human level, in souls do get really close to the human level. When they evaluate their life and death, they get stuck because they can't accept that they died in this way. But their higher self or higher selves, because as you like kind of look at, like if we look at dimension as a ladder, like we can go up to the higher viewpoint, and the higher viewpoint says, this was perfect, just the way it was. And so what are you meant to learn from this experience? Because that's what this is. This is just a school of learning. And so you have to learn now how to let go. Even souls are still in learning after death. They still are in learning. So you don't just, like sometimes, I mean, you're still in learning. Like you're always still in learning, which is a joyous thing to be in learning, okay? It's a joyous thing to be. So then you go to source and you just like, there's no reason to even have a thought. You're just like in an ocean of pure bliss. There's no need for this, that, or the other thing, because everything is in the wholeness. But then you leave the source and you even go one ladder level down, whatever that is, and you're not 100% source. You're just a slightly lower version than the highest version of existence. You know? So that's where things get joyful, because the further you disconnect from that energy, more complex learning becomes for the soul. So it's really special. So if we were to look at Donald Trump, the potential for this to be a life or death event on his inauguration day, that is something I'm supposed to talk about. It is a divine, everything happens divinely. And so, but I just see in all the joy and celebration, there is so much mass energy here. It's really, really good energy. Really, 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 really rich, abundant energy. And I'm just going to let that rich, abundant energy just flow like nurturing vitamins, nurturing waters, nurturing sunlight, nurturing for everyone to be nurtured, everyone to have access to bliss and something of the source to heal our souls. That's what this energy is really, really good. And so anything that wants to snuff that energy out will be unsuccessful, whatever that means. I don't see that Donald Trump is holding the torch entirely. I see many are holding the torch of something here that is benevolent and good. His soul is connected to a lot of people. Like his soul is very. It's really fun because he's like welcoming me to come into this space. And I'm kind of shy about it for some reason. I'm like, okay, I'll come into this space. And then he gives me a big hug. And it's interesting because it's not just me he's hugging. He's hugging every one of us. He's hugging everybody. You know, we all have to go through transformation. It's just how do we talk about the experiences that we go through and what is the person that we are becoming. And there's something authentically good here that is bringing out authentic goodness in all of us and authentic goodness for America, and it's inspiring the world. The truth. So he is lighting the way. Sees a torch, like you could say the Olympics. And you have this person that like carries the torch. He's carrying the torch. But I see while he carries the torch, it's up to us too to carry the torch as well. We all must carry the torch. And the torch represents, it's almost like, it does represent the truth or authenticity. It represents growth and transformation. It represents the human journey, but it's better than that. It's so much better than that. I want to go be the torch for a minute, and I want to talk about what it's like. There's a lot of different pictures. The first picture that comes to me is you have a kid who is cussing, and you have a mother that's cleaning the child's mouth out with soap. And we are going to clean those filthy words right out of your mouth. And is that right or is that wrong? Should children be cussing? It's an interesting question. What does cussing represent? Is that what we want for society? It's a fine tune. It's a fine tuning. But to what degree do we have to achieve it? We have to clean up the mess. This is deep. Okay, what else does this torch represent? I'm supposed to light all of America with this torch. This is a cleansing thing. Torch represents cleansing, and it could be hard cleansing. For the mother and for the child, because what mom wants to clean their kid's mouth out with soap, and what kid wants to have their mouth cleaned out with soap, and then what is the right thing to do? But what are we eradicating? This is about language as well, but this is about purifying self-expression. The mother does not need to be put in that situation, but the kid also doesn't need to be guided into that. But at the same time, learning and growth is difficult, and sometimes we're just rough around the edges, and maybe rough around the edges is okay too sometimes. But this is pure, man. This is like, let's say that we as a society decide, because I keep seeing this, I see like women on display on purpose so they can make a good living, because dang, if I can just take my clothes off and make $1 million a year, why not? Like, that's easy. Versus what, I have to learn a skill, and I have to do a job, and I have to like that's too much work. Like, this is way more fun. I get a lot of attention. I see this like this need for more sexualization, and for us to know that it's safe and it's secure and it's fine. But that's no different than the kid cussing and get his mouth washed out with soap. It's like we have to purify. It's like a purification thing, but it's not an extremism. It's not purification through extremism. It's just saying, women, you're beautiful. You don't have to go there. And we don't want you to go there. We don't want our women to feel like the best way for them to live their life is to take their clothes off. That's not the society that we want for women. For instance, is that extremism, or is that just a different kind of voice? The torch represents that, okay? That actually warms my heart, because bringing balance to roles of society, and I mean, this is women taking their clothes off. This is very specific women. This isn't men taking their clothes off and making $1 million a year. This is women taking their clothes off and making $1 million a year. This is women. This is just an example. This is also another example of the torch, is talking about children being exposed, and it doesn't matter. It's just like, well, I guess that's the world we live in. They're just going to have to be exposed to weird, messed up crap, and then we're just going to have to talk about it, what you saw and what it means to you. And now they've like got these deeply ingrained like ruts in their subconscious that will always be there, whether they directly remember it or indirectly remember it. Our children are being molded and shaped by free access to information that's not appropriate. Like children being sexualized, children being exposed to sexual information, children asking themselves, what am I? And children being transformed through surgeries. And then for us to say, this isn't right, that is purification. because that's honoring the sacred form. As honoring our sacred forms, nobody needs to get surgery to change their sacred form in order to feel better about themselves. That is not a purification. That is a desecration. And then it's lost, confused, and now you can't even find your pathway back to yourself because you don't even know what you are anymore. So that is the child that needs its mouth washed out with soap. Is that extremism? Or is that purification? So Donald Trump holding this torch, and then we are all holding the torch. It's a purification of what is genuinely right, what is genuinely healthy, what is genuinely like preserving the well-being of each other. Okay, because there is a divine way. It's the whole point that, all right, you want to grow a healthy garden. Well, I'm just going to neglect it and feed it garbage and expect it to grow. In what fantasy world is that going to work? You know, so there is a right way to do things. There is an actual right way to do things. If you want to build a house and see it last for a long time, build it with strong materials and build it straight. You know, like put some time and effort into it. Just don't slap it together. Like this is a difference of thinking. This is a shift in thinking. And so, it's like the Three Little Pigs. I want to build my house out of hay or straw or whatever. It's like, I want to build my house out of sticks. Is it smart? Is it lazy? Is it convenient? Is it just the way you want to live your life? And the big bad wolf comes and challenges you. And now you have to face a reckoning. And you have to learn and you got to get stronger. So hay turns into sticks, turns into bricks, you know? And so we're getting smarter and wiser and more clever. And so the big bad wolf doesn't come in and blow everything down that we've accomplished because we did it in a lazy, convenient, filthy way, you know? So you want to grow your garden, you got to fertilize it or, you know, give it its vitamins. You got to give it some water. You got to give it some sunshine. You got to give it some love. Maybe play some music because you just love that garden so much and it feels loved by you and it grows strong and healthy for you. You know, something interesting I heard about gardens, and I believe this, is so you trim your fingernails, your toenails, and you put it in the soil, and then the food that you're growing in your garden will grow for the well-being of your body specifically, because it's eating up your DNA. Like you can pee in it as well and poop in it. It learns about you when you give to it your bodily parts, okay? And so then the garden grows in alignment with your body. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that cool? Like that makes so much sense, doesn't it? So our bodies and the earth do communicate, and it's like material in a material way. It's not just some spiritual mumbo jumbo. I think that's really interesting. Anyway, that's what I got. I am supposed to linger for another minute. Let me see. What else am I supposed to do here? Oh, I'm still standing with Donald Trump, and we all are, okay? He's I hear people, it's really loud, just so you know. And there's people celebrate him and there's people that hate him. It's so loud and it's very exhausting. He lets people hate him. And he lets people love him. He wants everyone to know that he lets people decide what they want to decide about him, and that's important to him to let people know that he's not trying to take all the, it's like trying to silence all the voices that don't like him. He lets those voices have their opinion. He is talking about freedom of speech with that. So where my kids go to school, here's freedom of speech in action. If you were to talk about Kamala Harris, you're fine. If you were to talk about Donald Trump, you're going to get disliked, abused, beat up, whatever. So in a free speech world, you can talk about Donald Trump, you can talk about Kamala Harris, it doesn't matter. So why is it that the Kamala Harris movement is everybody should talk about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is great. Donald Trump, evil. So it's like we're on the inside digesting information and animating ourselves in a way that we feel uncomfortable about being open to one another. And why he is saying this is that he is allowing himself to be as he is, and then to be accepted or rejected in whatever way that comes. So he's an open door. And he seems really talkative. Okay, what else? He's taking me back to when I was hearing all that noise. And he says that that he is completely at peace with every day of his life. And every day he's proud of his soul and everything he's seen and done and went through in his life. And I ask him, how is this the best way to put this into words? However many days he has left, he's going to embrace every one of those days with all of his heart. And that could be one day, that could be 10,000 days. That could be, who knows? Like, he might be 100 years old, 105 years old, 110, 120 years old, but he's going to embrace every day of his life from the bottom of his heart. And he's going to, he gives me the torch, and he says that he's not just him. Like, we all carry the torch. And so one day you'll pass the torch, right? And then we pass the torch. But if we all carry the torch, then we all symbolize something that we value as a society, and healthy children, healthy minds, healthy growth and development. So it's not just about him as the centerpiece. It's about a movement at the centerpiece, a movement of what makes a better country, what actually influences then the world to be inspired by the same things. Whether that's in government or in the population or both. There's something really resurrecting here. Really vibrant, really bright and beautiful. He's reminding me too of something about all that conglomeration of souls. Because they're welcome in this, everyone is welcome to eat the healthy fruit off the tree. That's it, basically how he puts it. He shows me the scene where the brittle bones, and it's like, yeah, you're falling apart and you don't want to admit it. And time to meditate, time to go in the time capsule, and maybe it'll be back, but right now in the time capsule, so we can self-reflect. But those souls, he shows me this apple tree, and it's really, really healthy. He says, those that hate me and those that love me, you're welcome to the same apples that I eat. That's important. Because these apples aren't just for the people that love me. These apples are for the people that hate me too. And he wants to bring balance. He wants to emphasize that it's not about Donald Trump. It's about remembering that the apple tree with the healthy apples is equally available to everyone. And it's not only people that are like this get to have it. He shows me that he becomes many seeds, and the seeds are full of light, and they're everything he's ever learned on his soul journey. It's everything he's ever seen or thought about. And we're all learning how to open up to each other, how to welcome each other in. It's a symbolic message. It's not like, here, I open my door to any random stranger. It's actually feeling safe and secure in our streets and with one another. It's like a safety and security. Like we're learning how to connect with one another and open up to each other and find joy in each other, in our communities, in our work, in our purposes. For children, adults, elderly, everybody, sharing the seeds of their soul. And it's beautiful. says he has to represent something, and he represents then Donald Trump. He represents himself. He represents his vision. But his vision isn't Donald Trump. His vision is, you could say, it's like, what is Jesus? Jesus represents Jesus, but Jesus represents a vision. So if we take Jesus out of the picture, Jesus is just a torchbearer to a vision of unconditional love, you could say. And then that we all carry that torch of love, right? So you could say it's not Donald Trump, it's just a vision, right? So Donald Trump is a vision. It's not about Donald Trump, it's about a vision, and that we all are nurtured by. And then we all continue to nurture each other with it. But man, I tell you, energetically, even after this, I'm getting kind of pulled into another space, just to remind you all that there's a lot of work to do. And that's a wonderful thing, because all hands on deck, like everybody is needed. All the love, we work together. The love is awake. The love is here. The love is powerful. And so we are that, right? So that's what I meant to share about this. I'm just kind of looking at everything, and yeah, that's everything. Okay, thank you all so much for being a part of this journey with me. If there's anything happening in the world that you would love me to take a look at and make a video on that topic, you just put it in the comments, and we'll see what happens. And like sharing this experience with all of you. If I can help you individually in a session, you can book a session at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. I'm also on Patreon at patreon.com/abbeynormalswisdomquest. All right, have a great day, everybody.